providing guidance and instructions on effective and swift solutions to improve patient care. There are currently around 650 active thalassemia patients in the Maldives. Families of thalassemia patients often encounter numerous challenges in accessing necessary treatments such as bone marrow transplants. In response, the government has implemented various measures to alleviate these issues and ensure that services are accessible within the country. As such, the ministry has stated that bone marrow transplant services will be offered in the Thalassemia Hospital being established in Hulumale, fulfilling the pledge of President Dr. Mohamed Muiz. A much respected and locally renowned football coach, Ihsan Abdul Ghani Santi, was laid to rest in capital Male with hundreds attending the funeral. Ihsan, at the age of 51, passed away late Saturday at the Treetop Hospital in Hulumale after losing the battle with cancer. A former footballer, Ihsan was locally revered during his career as a football coach. He played a leading role in launching the football. Worked for the national football team, was a championship winning team in 2008. He later led Club Eagles to success in the domestic league before serving as the chairman of the Maldives Sports Corporation. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz had described his son's passing as a profound loss to the football and sports family of the country. The Ministry of Education says a new school under construction in the second phase of Hulumale will be completed by the end of this year and will be ready to accept students for the next academic year. Currently, only Salahuddin School teachers from grades 1 to 10 in Hulumale phase 2, making it difficult for the increasing number of residents to get placements at the school. Many parents have to travel long distances to take their children to schools in phase 1 or Male City. In a bid to address the shortage, the government in December last year broke ground for the new school in Hulumale phase 2. The school will be built with 54 classrooms to accommodate 1,700 students from grade 1 to 10. The ministry said the construction of the new school is scheduled to be completed and will be ready to accept students by the 7 schools in Hulumale to address the placement shortages. In the Rasmale Development Initiative, with over 52 hectares of land reclaimed to date, spearheaded by President Dr. Mohamed Muiz's administration, the project aims to address long-standing housing shortages through sustainable and innovative reclamation strategies. As of 9th March, HDC has confirmed the successful reclamation of 52.15 hectares of land across 4 designated areas in the Fushidi-Garufalo Lagoon area D, F, G and L. These newly reclaimed sections, according to the HDC, represent a key progress toward the goal of reclaiming 378 hectares from these zones. The scope of reclamation extends beyond these areas. HDC reports that another 29 hectares have been completed in Area J. Collectively, these milestones underscore the scale and ambition of the Rasmale project, which seeks to transform 1,153 hectares of lagoon into usable land. Work on the Rasmale project commenced on 18th December 2023 and is organized into 12 sections within the lagoon. Progress remains steady, with HDC currently employing measures to mitigate environmental impacts, including relocating coral from targeted areas. Accelerating the timeline has emerged as a priority for the administration. President Dr. Muiz recently outlined plans to deploy additional dredgers and equipment in 2025, promising to double or triple the pace of ongoing efforts. According to government sources, collaboration with additional companies is also under consideration to enhance operational efficiency. More than a reclamation effort, the Rasmale development reflects a broader vision for urban transformation. The creation of over 65,000 housing units across newly reclaimed areas represents a systematic approach to tackling housing deficit while fostering sustainable growth by President Dr. Muiz's administration. The State Trading Organization STO, the leading importer of fuel in the Maldives, announces a reduction in petrol prices. The adjustment, which affects the petrol sold through its subsidiary Fuel Supply Maldives FSM, came into effect on March 23rd. STO detailed that the price of petrol has been adjusted to approximately 0.88 per litre. This change reflects a decrease of $0.03 per litre, down from the previous rate of $0.91 per litre. This revision marks the first petrol price adjustment by STO in 2025. The organization generally attributes such reductions to volatility in global fuel markets. The announcement follows STO's last petrol price revision, which took place in May 2024. While the current reduction benefits petrol consumers, STO confirmed that diesel prices remain unchanged. The Male Water and Sewerage Company MWSC commences a test in the water network established to circulate fresh water between Male and Hulumale. The pipeline, which was integrated into the Sinamale Bridge connecting Male and Hulumale, was intended to circulate fresh water between Male and Hulumale. However, the actual water connection was not established over the last 5 years. After President Dr. Mohamed Muiz was elected to office in 2023, he resumed efforts to complete the work. According to MWSC, the project is now nearing completion. MWSC's Managing Director Abdul Mateen Muhammad confirmed that the pipeline used to set up the water network has now been cleaned and connected at both ends. He said while interim testing is ongoing, the network can circulate 3,000 tons of water at its current capacity. He said, once all the project is fully completed, 20,000 tons of water can be circulated between Male and Hulumale, he added. President Donald Trump's regulatory freeze has injected chaos and uncertainty into a number of lucrative American fisheries, raising the risk of a delayed start of the fishing season for some East Coast cod and haddock fleets and leading to overfishing of Atlantic bluefin tuna.
America's $320 billion fishing industry relies on a branch of the federal government, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, to manage coastal fisheries. Under a 1976 law, NOAA's National Marine Fisheries Service develops management plans for 45 fisheries, setting quotas and determining the start and close of fishing seasons in consultation with federal government scientists and local fishermen. Trump's January 20th declaration of a 60-day freeze on regulations disrupted this process for several of those fisheries, delaying key meetings and causing confusion over the issuance of new rules, according to Reuters interviews. And according to one commercial vessel crew member, policy change couldn't come at a worse time.
We've got these really fast-changing fishery ecosystems where, this used to be where we are right now, used to be the hotspot for the lobster resource back in the 90s. People were making money hand over fist, and now, that stock has migrated up to down East Maine, and it's on its way to Canada. We've had an influx of all kinds of new species on the boat I work on here. All of the species we catch are mid-Atlantic, bluefish, scup, sea bass, and we increasingly see southern fish like cobia in our nets. So this is probably the worst time to shut down, any capacity at NOAA, especially in the science end of what they do. We just need as many, eyes on the ecosystem as we can get.
According to a Massachusetts lawmaker, as well as industry groups and the federal government employees, the freeze allowed overfishing in waters off North Carolina of Atlantic bluefin tuna, which could mean reduced quotas for New York and New England fishermen when the fish migrate further north this summer. Fish biologists and fisheries management specialists, a senior NOAA employee who was among those fired, told Reuters that some 163 probationary employees, or about 5% of the NOAA workforce dealing with fisheries, were fired last month, including administrative support staff. Those roles are involved in the regulatory process, from monitoring the health of stocks to consulting on regulations for annual catch. The agency confirmed the freeze in an email, but said that it would not respond to Reuters' requests for comment on management and personal issues. The White House did not respond for requests for comment.
Hamas officials says that an Israeli airstrike in southern Gaza's Khan Yunis killed Hamas political leader Salah al-Bardawil.
In a statement, Hamas accused Israel of assassinating Bardawil, who it said was praying along with his wife when an Israeli missile struck their tent shelter in Khan Yunis. Israeli officials had no immediate comment. Explosions echoed throughout the north, central, and southern Gaza Strip in the early hours on March 23rd after Israel effectively abandoned a ceasefire, launching a new all-out air and ground campaign on Tuesday, March 18, against Gaza's dominant Palestinian militant group, Hamas. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has repeatedly said the aim of the war is to destroy Hamas as a military and governing entity. He said the aim of the new campaign is to force the group to give up remaining hostages. Israel launched its genocidal war in Gaza after a Hamas attack on Israeli communities around the Gaza Strip on October 7, 2023 that killed some 1,200 people, according to an Israeli tally, and saw 251 abducted as hostages. The Israeli genocidal war has killed more than 49,000 Palestinians, according to Palestinian health authorities, and devastated much of the coastal enclave, leaving hundreds of thousands of people in tents and makeshift shelters.
Canadians' protest against U.S. tariffs in Toronto is relations between the United States and Canada. Long-time allies have deteriorated since U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to annex Canada as the 51st state and imposed tariffs.
Canadians are rallying for their country and seeing a resurgence in nationalism as Canada-U.S. relations top the list of issues preoccupying residents, according to recent polls.
If I had to talk to Donald Trump, I would say, drop the tariffs. Canada is your friend. We're your ally. We don't want to be fighting you guys, but we're going to do what we have to do if you keep threatening our sovereignty.
It remains unclear how long Trump's tariffs will be in place or what is behind his aspirations for Canada to become the 51st U.S. state. Canadians are boycotting U.S. goods and canceling U.S. travel plans. Provinces are taking American alcohol off store shelves.
Not for sale. Simple as that. We have our own country, we have our own pride, we're not to be annexed. You know, you're either our neighbor or you're not anything with us. We're our own country.
It's upsetting.
Yeah, I'm not happy with what I'm seeing in America. I think that we've been friends and we're not anymore, and it's just upsetting to see.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney has said Trump must stop making disrespectful comments about Canada before the two countries can start serious talks about future ties.
World number 1 Aryna Sabalenka reaches the last 16 at the Miami Open when Elena Gabriela Rus retired injured. Sabalenka, who arrived in Miami fresh off a loss in last week's Indian Wells final, wrapped up the first set 6-1 before Romanian Rus was forced to retire with a right thigh injury. Up next for three-time Grand Slam champion Sabalenka will be the winner of Saturday's night match on Grandstand between American defending Miami champion Danielle Collins and Swiss qualifier Rebecca Masarova. Naomi Osaka won 7-6, 3-6, 6-4 against American wildcard Hailey Baptiste, while Italian 6th seed Jasmine Paolini advanced when on's debut, trailing 4-3 in the opening set, had to retire with a left leg injury. Third seed Coco Gauff also progressed with a 6-2, 6-4 win over Greece's Maria Sakkari. Swiss scientist says that the biggest glacier in the Alps could yet be partially saved if global warming is kept below 2 degrees Celsius, although significant ice loss is now inevitable. According to a UN report, glaciers around the globe are disappearing faster than ever, with the last 3-year period seeing the largest glacial mass loss on record. The Great Altes Glaciers in the Berners Alps, which is 20 kilometers long and weighs 10 billion tons, attract over 1 million people a year who can view its immensity from the Jean-François viewing platform at 3,454 meters above sea level.
The glaciers are in a very bad state at the moment, and the projections for the future show that this will hold on. So our new model results show that in Switzerland we are going to lose at least 70% of the total ice volume, and this is the very best case if we emit no further CO2 after 2050 globally. In the worst case though, we may lose all glaciers in Switzerland by 2100. So it will be somewhere in between, but it's very likely that almost all glaciers are going to be lost. And I sincerely hope that only at Aletsch Glacier, at this high elevation, we may be able to preserve some of the ice.
In a scenario without any climate mitigation, its 3 distinct tributaries that merge into a vast river of ice would vanish, leaving behind a deep grey valley, a depiction from the Swiss Academy of Sciences showed. The document said if global warming holds below 2 degrees, it would survive, albeit much shorter level.
The glaciers in Switzerland have retreated by, the volume retreat is about 40% since 2000. Of this 40%, 10% have been lost just in 2 years, so in 2022 and 2023. If we now imagine that these are not going to be such extreme years anymore, but this is going to be the new normal, we will accelerate the glacier volume change or retreat enormously. So we're still hoping that those are extreme years and we stick to this 40% in the last 25 years.
University of Freiburg glaciologist Martina Barandun said more than half of the glaciers in the Alps are in Switzerland, where temperatures are rising by around twice the global average due to climate change. Already their volume has fallen by almost 40% since 2000. And that's all we have for this hour. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a very pleasant time ahead.
Barakatir Ramala Mahoge Heo Dumata Hunia TV Balawa Lobit Raitunan Ariskurang